Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic: bad behavior should be called out. That's right, bad behavior should be called out. Now, when you listen to a number of individuals on Black YouTube is a very small sector of the YouTube community. But Black YouTube has a lot of issues with it because a number of individuals who are YouTubers in the black sector seem to come with a lot of problems. There are a number of men and women who have problems with each other. Now you have to look at where this behavior is coming from. First of all, if you get on social media, email somebody telling them that they have a problem with women or men, and when they try to call you to talk about it and you won't take their phone call, then I have to assume that there's a problem with you. You might be the one who has a problem with yourself and your own family, but you haven't come to see that yet. And one thing I can say with men and women, not just in the black community, is that a number of us live in denial. We think everything is cool and we don't need help. But when it comes to what's really going on around you, a lot of us do need help. Some of us don't want to get help. But the real issues in all communities, when you have troubled people, come from family foundation. And the reason why I believe the family is the most important part of a child's life is because the family is supposed to be there to give them the rearing and the tools that a child needs to be successful in the real world. Now, you can come from a good family and not be successful, but the family is basically supposed to be the catalyst for giving the kid the understanding that bad influences can turn you into an evil child. And that's what you have out here with a number of children. Now, if I, as a man, call out a woman's nonsense, whether it's on YouTube or radio, does that mean I have a problem with women? No, that does not mean I have a problem with women. The truth should be told no matter who it hurts. See, my job as a YouTuber is not to tell you what makes you feel good, it's to tell you what you need to know. And there are a number of men out there that need to be told about their behavior when it comes to women. You see, when it comes to the black community, the problem that I see is that many of us only know one thing. It's how to fight, and it's how to fight each other. The reason why I do not give any solutions about the black community is because too many of us are just like little dots on a scatter plot. We're scattered all over the place with different ideas, but we can't connect to one another because we're always afraid that somebody's going to do better than us. And also, we don't have any idea what it is to be structurally sound. The way black people think is if we see one person on top, instead of learning from that person, we want to take that person from the top so we can replace them. But now I'm going to flip the script as well. Instead of the person on the top teaching the people on the bottom so he can do something else, he wants to stay where he is so he can be the fixture. Well, that's always a problem because when it comes to men and women in general, especially this age, we have a lot more influences because of social media. And I've said social media has been a thorn in the side of the black community. If you look at the types of videos that are made when it comes to black behavior, who is recording all this information? It's black people. They're putting them up on World Star Hip Hop, and you have YouTubers being sent these videos from World Star Hip Hop, and what's happening, these videos are getting presented as news. Now, I can tell you, not everybody in the black community is a bad person, but when you put out that negative connotation of black people or any person, well, we're going to be judged by other people as the stereotypical person that you are seeing on World Star Hip Hop and some of these other shows like Bill Cunningham and Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. Now, how do we alleviate ourselves from these types of people? Well, first of all, when it comes to any person, if you're one who wants to do well for yourself, you try to seek people who are going to be like-minded. A community can not rise any higher than like-minded people. See, the problem with a lot of these communities out here, particularly black communities, is that most of the breeding is coming from the dysfunctional and the welfare-minded people instead of the individuals who have some class, who have a good job, who understand what it is to be a family person. Now, when it comes to attitude about anything, everything is not going to be positive, but you want to be positive because in reality, positive people seem to grow a lot faster than negative people. Now, again, what I'm strictly saying is that as people, we should be able to call out behavior no matter who it is, whether it is a man or a woman, because when you do not call out bad behavior from other people, you are a problem because you're allowing it to pursue. And you can't complain about something when it's constantly going on in front of your face. And that's what we do as black people. We don't want to confront bad behavior for the fear of making somebody feel bad. Now, when it comes to social media, African Americans really thrive on fighting each other. We have a savage mentality. We don't want to call it a savage mentality, but if you look at it, we do. We have a lot of disorders with that savage mentality. I was watching some videos about Gary, Indiana, because I live in the northwest Indiana area, Portage, Indiana, which butts up against Gary, Indiana, along US 12, that's the Ogden Dunes area. And there were some brothers who were very proud of Gary being the murder capital of the United States. Now, to me, that's a dysfunctional behavior. But what they didn't understand, Gary, Indiana, back in 2013, had 55 murders. They had the most murders per capita of a city over 50,000 people. Now, that is insane if you're going to rep your city as being the murder capital of the world. Now, that does not make you tough, but in our minds as African American people, and you have white people who do the same, we believe that being violent to somebody makes us tough. It does not make us tough. In fact, it really makes us a coward, because there are more times than less that we should be able to walk away from a situation without any harm being done. And when it comes to, and I'm just picking on the black community right now because we black people basically have no foundation. We're scattered all over the place. We don't care about how we feel about one another. And when we get on YouTube, I can see the reflection of how people interact with each other. We call each other names. We personally attack each other when we can't refute their point. Hell, we'll even go behind and write emails about people assuming because we're calling out some behavior that we hate women or hate men, in which we don't. We don't debate each other properly. And many of us are so caught up in the social media world like it's the real world, but what we're really doing is taking our personal feelings that we have with the outside world and we're projecting them on the YouTube, and that's what makes black people look bad. And again, I'm picking on black people because I am black and I see the dysfunction that goes on with African American people, and a number of us don't want to be accountable for what we do. We want to blame somebody else. And what's worse about it, we try to put Caucasian people on top of us with this swirling nonsense that goes on. Listen, I don't care who you date. If you are dysfunctional, you can hide it for so long, it's going to come out. People don't want to deal with dysfunctional people. And a lot of us in the African American community are very dysfunctional. We, for the most part, don't have the aptitude to be mothers and fathers or husbands and wives. Not the way we treat each other. We can't even talk to each other as adults, let alone parent children. And the biggest problem with us as African Americans is the ego, the jealousy, the narcissism, the insecurity, the self-hate. Is this going to stop? It's never going to stop. Why? Because you just have people who want to continue their lives as victims. Now, again, life isn't fair. And as an African American person, I know life isn't fair. But when it comes to behavior, I don't care who you are, we should be justified to call it out because your bad behavior can affect the rest of us. And when it affects the rest of us, we cannot have continuity in the community, or we can't even rebuild any type of community because we can't have a dialogue with one another. And with platforms like a Twitter, an Instagram, and even a YouTube, you can see all of the bad behaviors that are basically presented from African American people. Now, I don't see too much of what goes on in the white section of YouTube because I don't watch it. It's not that I'm not concerned with their issues, but I'm more and more concerned with African American issues because, yes, we have had a hard time. And face it, black men and black women, we're always going to continue to have a hard time, and we make it worse by attacking each other. If we don't learn how to call each other's behaviors out, there's no way we can grow. Now, I remember a long time ago, I had my fair share of anger issues, and I went to seek help. And what we have to do is address our behavior. And right now, our behavior is a savage behavior. I mean, black men, I hate to say it, we don't know how to connect dots. I mean, we can have an opinion about anything. But when it comes to brass taxes, we just are dysfunctional when it comes to communicating with each other. We can never be leaders because most of us are always afraid that somebody is going to do better than we are. And you have the sisters out here, yes, they're going to school getting their degrees, but are they more educated than African American men? They're more educated when it comes to academia, but they're no more better than black men. Why? Because they're still steeped in dysfunctional issues. And when we keep allowing our behaviors to go unchecked, we're going to continue this cycle of dysfunctionality. And there are going to be people who are going to watch this video. If you don't like it, thumb the video down. But you know I'm telling the truth. All of us in the African American community and other communities, we need to be able to talk about bad behavior. Stop letting it go. Start addressing the rights and wrongs. And the reason why we have a lot of bad behavior because we dismiss right and wrong. This whole world is upside down. It allows us to make mistakes and not be accountable for our mistakes, even if it causes distress or hurt to somebody. And that includes yourself. See, part of understanding what's going on around you is to understand yourself. While we sit here and blame other people, the person that we need to look at in the mirror is ourselves. If you don't want to be called on your behavior, then take a look at yourself. Because maybe it's not the people around you. Maybe it's you. And you have to be grown up to see that. Too many of us live in the state of denial, and we don't really want to see the problems that are going on within ourselves. A lot of us are very angry individuals. And not only are we angry, we take our own personal experiences and we try to speak for the masses of people. It doesn't work that way. The bottom line is when you have behavioral issues, you need to get help for your behavioral issues. You have to admit that you have a narcissism problem, that you have an ego problem, a self-hate problem. You need to admit that you have a health problem, an eating disorder. You are a smoker, you're an alcoholic. If you tell the truth about yourself, you're going to have an easier time to get through life. Behaviors should be addressed. Like I said, I don't care who you are. You could be black, you could be white, you could be Hispanic. We have a world made up of individuals who live in fantasy land. They're easily offended when something doesn't go their way. And that's an immaturity personality disorder. And we also have a number of people who have borderline personality disorders. The bottom line, when it comes to what's going on with a number of us, it comes down to our behavior. Now, where do all these behavior issues come from? They come from a variety of issues. First of all, you have to find out as a child, were you molested? Were you abused as a kid? Did you watch abuse that went on in the family? And the reason why I talk about the family, because you have a number of family members who were dysfunctional themselves. You have a number of mothers who had boyfriends. Now, the mothers may have not done any of the molestation of a child, but they allowed boyfriends from time to time in the house, like a revolving door, and these children couldn't defend themselves. And this just didn't happen to girls, it happened to boys. But at the end of the day, if you don't take care of your behavior, you're going to suffer for the rest of your life. And you're going to cause harm to people. Most of us love to blame other people, but we fail to check our own behavior. When I go on YouTube and hear a number of individuals speak, and I have seen some in the white community as well, individuals, I can look in their eyes and they talk from anger, entitlement, narcissism. We have a number of people who are sociopaths out there, psychotic. And when I talk to guys about the women you're dating, it does not mean that a man hates women because he calls a woman out for bad behavior. You don't want to be around that person. And it does not mean that a woman hates men because she calls a man out. See, here's the problem with the hating man and hating women issue. It's not that the men and women are lying about the behaviors of some men and women that they're calling out. It's the way they are presenting it. See, a number of people listen to the tone, and that's what hurts their feelings. They don't really listen to the message. See, if you listen to the message and learn how to comprehend it, you will understand what the person is conveying to you. And see, when I talk about behavior, whether it is a man or a woman, I'm not preaching hate to you. I'm preaching love to you. Because I'd rather give it to you straight. And I'm a straight shooter. You see, on my videos, I rarely ever curse. I don't have to curse. Because if I can get one person, just one person, to change their behavior to become a better person, that's one more than I had before. But the bottom line, when it comes to calling men and women out on their behavior, that is well justified. And whoever doesn't like it, that's all on them. And usually the person who thinks you have a problem with someone, it's not that you have a problem with someone, they have issues. And they don't want to see and deal with their own issues. Why? Because they're in denial. And when you try to talk to some people, they'll run for the hills by hiding behind emailing, text messaging, and any other ordeal because they don't want to hear you tell them the truth. And that seems to be very big across every community. And when you have conversations with individuals, you should be seeking the truth no matter what. If someone's going to get offended by me telling them the truth, so be it. I'd rather tell you the truth than tell you a lie. And see, another ordeal that can lead to some of these sociopathic thoughts is rejection. There are a number of us who just don't take rejection that well. And let me tell you this, everybody is not going to like you. So you have to be advised of when you correspond with people. You're not going to turn everybody on, and everybody's not going to turn you on. But you should have enough decency to walk away from a situation without personally attacking somebody, particularly to whom you don't agree with, or if they don't agree with you. that's going to happen. And in the black community, we seem to have a lot of this monolithic thinking that if you don't agree with what the person who believes that they're a victim, well, they're going to call you a coon. And see, when you call somebody a name, that means you cannot refute their argument. But there's enough of that going on. And it makes it much easier for that person in their minds to escape having to find a way to rebut an argument or a debate. See, this is why I don't debate with a number of individuals, particularly on Black YouTube, because emotions start to flow all over the place, and this is when you get the name calling. But at the end of the day, if a person has bad behavior, whether they're a man or a woman, and if you know it's taking place and you don't check it, then that's also your problem. There's nothing wrong with doing better for yourself. You should always want to do better for yourself. We have too much bad behavior, entitlement behavior. I mean, look at this 30-year-old from Syracuse, New York. His parents are suing him just to get him out of the house. That makes no sense, but I put that in my last video, but these parents allowed this child to stay in that house. He got comfortable because his parents were doing everything for him, and now the parents are tired of their 30-year-old kid, so the 30-year-old kid is afraid that the gravy train is going to stop. Again, when you allow that behavior to take place, can't point the finger at anybody but yourself. So my last thought on this, when it comes to bad behavior, you should call it out. And you should call it out without being refuted. And what I mean by refuted in the terms of shaming. You hate men, you hate women. When it comes to being an adult, a number of us basically are children who occupy male and female adult bodies. And if you think it gets better as men and women get older, you look at some of these 40, 50, 60-year-old men and women out here today. They still display themselves like children. You look at how they present themselves. They still want to fight each other. It's because they haven't grown up. They still think they're 20 again. And these are disorders. These are problems. But these are people who deny that they have problems. And now that they get a certain age, they're useless people. So if we don't get a handle on a number of these behaviors, they're going to continue. You look at all these shootings. Some of these individuals may have been bullied, but some of them were sitting home watching video games, and they think these video games, along with social media, is the real world. It's not the real world. When you take people's lives senselessly, you have a problem. And you're no longer an individual problem or your parents' problem. Now you become a societal problem. But at the end of the day, when it comes to behaviors, bad behavior should be checked. No matter if it's a man, a woman, or a child. If we don't correct this bad behavior, our society is going to continue to go down the drain. And if you don't believe me, you look at what's going on around you. Because things are not getting better. They're getting worse. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Friday, May 25th, 2018. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. I will be bringing back the radio show. I haven't done it in a while because I've been very busy with other projects. So, if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on my channel, I don't debate, do controversial issues, nor do I do emotional issues. Now, if a person believes that the issue that I'm presenting is emotional, well, that's how they perceive it, that's on them. What I do on my channel is make you aware of what's going on around you. This is a self-awareness / therapeutic channel. What I do is give you information that is realistic but positive. This is why I do not engage in drama and or unnecessary bickering, because it is counterproductive. My job is to make sure that you understand the real world, because when you have bad behavior and it goes unchecked, that just takes society down a whole different path. And it's a path that you don't want to go. So I advise you to take a look at this video and understand what's going on around you, because it is going to get worse if we don't straighten up what's going on. And you can do that only by having knowledge. And coming with knowledge is power. And if you have a topic, a new YouTube channel, or business that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering, if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night.